Hello everyone, welcome, Crash here. Today we're going to be talking about the T500 pedals and a mod that if you're on a budget, I think you all should do.
Welcome to RTA Motorsports.
Alright everyone, welcome. So this is the T500 pedal set and this is the stock pedal set. This is not the T3PA Pro. And you know, to be honest with you, when I bought my Thrustmaster TX wheel set, I had all the intentions on buying the T3PA Pro, and I'm just going to discuss this a little bit to kind of give you a little bit of backstory of what I was shopping around for. The T3PA Pro has a conical brake mod. Everyone that seems to use it loves it. When I got my Thrustmaster TX wheel set, I pre-ordered it a month before it came out, and I'm here in America, so we weren't getting many of them at all. When it came time for them to be released, they were sold out, even though I had mine pre-ordered. A month or two went by and I still haven't received any shipping information from where I ordered mine, so then I canceled that order and I went somewhere else. And they had a date, a prospective date of like 2 weeks from that point where I ordered it, where they were supposed to be getting more stock. And when that 2 weeks came, they put a date of a month and a half away that they were supposed to be then getting stock. So I was like, you know what, forget this. This is just getting crazy. So I went on eBay and I just so happened to find this pedal set. It was cheaper than the T3PA Pro on you know, around opening period, especially being that there were so few of them. Everyone was trying to not necessarily hike the price up too much, but everyone was getting MSRP at least. So this one here, I saved a little bit of money picking up, and it already had this mod done to it. So I can't claim that this is my doing and my idea, although it did inspire me to do the exact same thing on my e-brake, which will be the most likely the next video. So yeah, I just, you know, whoever it was, if you're watching this video and you did this mod, you did an awesome thing and an excellent job. If you Google T500 DIY RC shock mod, there is a pretty good write-up on ISR TV that will just pop up, and it shows them actually doing the mod on the Thrustmaster TX bass pedals. So, you know, that's a little bit of a decent guide there, but I'm going to show you how they did it on the T500, because, you know, this is not really plastic in construction, so you can't just throw wood screws in and expect it to work. So yeah, this is the, like I said, the base T500 pedals, you know, so I use my gas here, my brake here, and this would be my clutch. You can see that everything there is still stock. If you have, I'm just going to kind of go off on a little tangent here. If you have the Playseat Challenge and you're wondering how I mount it in my my rig, I kind of described it in the tour of the video. Now I'm going to break everything on my desk. In my rig tour, I meant to say. But pretty much this is the mounting plate that you get. It's just basically 2 bars with foam there to prevent any sort of vibrations or anything like that. This little baggie here, it looks like I lost all my screws on the floor. The additional screws to kind of mount it normally, I have in this little baggie, and it looks like it ripped out. But yeah, anyway, to make a long story short, I zip tied the T500 pedals to this bar, one here, through the housing of the T500, and then in the back here I zip tied around this bar here to the back the rear beam of the T500 pedals. So, you know, I got one zip tie here, one here, and one here, and it's absolutely solid. It does not move from this bar here. I could stand on the brakes without any sort of issue. So it is possible to mount the T500 pedals onto the Playseat Challenge without having to build your own little thing. It only takes a few minutes to do. So yeah, let's go back to the brake mod, and so you'll see here these are the two springs. I think they're 120 millimeters in length from mounting point to mounting point. They're very similar to the shocks used on the Ride-Up. They're longer strut shocks for larger RC cars, so you can't just go out and buy, you know, any ones that you would find you need. I think these are probably 4 inches or 5 inches in length when completely stretched out. They are hydraulic. A lot of them don't come pre-filled, but if you order them online, a lot of them will come with the oil with them, so you don't have to try to source the oil, or you could go to a local hobby shop and find those. They're all readily available. The person that did this did a very, very clean job on it, I must say. You hopefully you could see it, you know. All right, so you can see here that we have mounted down here. These are 2 Allen screws that are screwed into the actual metal housing, the back plate of the Thrustmaster T500 pedals. This here with the blue washers is actually an upper strut tower mount that is used to basically hold the shocks in its bottom mounting position. So normally this would be the top of the RC car. This would be the upper front strut tower mount, I believe. I'm not big on RC cars, but that's what I think this is, the upper strut tower mount. And this is the model that he used, but or she, whoever it was that did this installation. I must say that there are so many different kinds out there of upper strut tower mounts. I would imagine you could use any one you want, you know, whatever style you want, because you just need something that would enable you to mount the strut to a plate and then the plate to the T500. Because you can see here, hopefully with this screwdriver here, you can see there's a good gap in between there where the strut wouldn't quite make it to this metal housing here to screw in. So you need to basically have some sort of mounting surface so that way it will reach. And then from there you have the strut up to the pedal. Now up here, looks like there's a little bit of epoxy in there and whatnot. That is another upper strut tower mount, or that might be a lower strut tower mount that, you know, it would normally go into. You have these little ball joints here, so that way it will rotate when it collapses down and not bind. Okay, so that mount there gives you the ball joints, and I would imagine that's just the other end of, you know, the mounting for any sort of RC car. So you might have to actually sacrifice a part off an RC car. I would imagine, you know, looking online and how many RC car parts there are available, this is something you should be able to get. But they mounted the RC car shocks onto this housing here, and you have these little ball joints, just like I said, that are a part of a screw on either side. And then up there they screwed, it looks like they actually cut this piece here, this cross member, and we're going to flip it over a little bit and take a look at how it's mounted to the pedal, because the pedal itself is not modded in any way as far as you know, cutting the metal or anything like that. Okay, so underneath here you can see this is that same cross member piece, and it's screwed into these two ears here that are slipping underneath the bar for the pedal. So the pedal itself on the sides, you know, if you own a T500, you would know exactly what I'm talking about. You have these little pockets here, and you can probably actually see better on this one here. So you have these little pockets here, and it looks like he cut, or she cut, these little ears from the other mounting surface of the RC car, stuck it in there on either side into one of these holes, and the screws that are going from this cross member up into those ears are basically making it like a C-clamp. So that's how it's holding in place there. So that's that ear there going into there, and there's one on the other side. So it's a pretty neat way that they have done it. It's very clean, works very well, doesn't bind at all, but yet it gives you a lot of resistance. And I can barely push that down by hand. I'm still not even getting all the way down, but it gives you a really strong hydraulic feel, because you know there's nothing quite like a hydraulic resistance. You can't really mimic it with springs. I mean, I guess you could kind of mimic it with a spring and maybe a rubber damper, or you know, kind of like the Basher Boards mod or anything like that. I'm sure you could do something similar to that, and kind of make it feel very similar. But this already has everything you would need already done, and it's all one piece. You just got to basically create a way to mount it to the pedals, and this is a pretty neat design that they have done. And hopefully you could see in there, all I have is the stock spring. Let me actually go from this way. All I have is the stock spring that's in there, you know, nothing else, nothing crazy. But yeah, you know, these are the pieces that you're gonna have to try to source, and hopefully I don't break this pedal talking about it. So you're going to need that upper strut tower mount, you're going to need the two RC car shocks, and you're going to need some sort of lower mount that would mount the shocks to it and kind of create a clamping mechanism and use those holes just kind of like they did here. So hopefully you get to see all that you need to see to kind of get your own idea and get it going. We're going into race room right now, and there's only 40 seconds left of this qualifying setup, and we're just entering in, so I'm not going to be able to actually qualify here. But we're going to be using the Kenhard R52 as our vehicle of choice for the moment. We got the track is the Race Room Raceway Bridge setup, and this is not really my favorite vehicle, mainly because it's so tail happy, but that's what they're using in this race, so that's what we're gonna go with to demo this brake pedal here. And hopefully you'll be able to see, you know, during the race that sometimes I'll stand on this brake and it still, you know, it still holds up. It gives me progressive resistance. Still gives me the feel. It doesn't just collapse in on itself. Go. All right, so it looks like it's just me and one other person in this race here. Oh, third person. There we go. This car here, you gotta really roll it off the start, because it'll just spin the tires and spin you out into the wall. Stay on the track, stay on the track. You see I'm wearing sneakers now. With this mod, I definitely recommend you wear sneakers. Or, you know, something for the bottom of your feet, because it makes the brake pedal so hard that kind of hurts the bottom of your feet a little bit. I still normally just wear socks anyway, but you know, if your feet are sensitive, might just want to wear wafers or something like that. Turn, turn, turn. I don't normally practice with this car. In this game, I really like the Saline or the Aquila Cup car, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but those are two of my favorite cars. I feel that's what really separates this game from titles like iRacing, you know, because you have access to those DTM cars. Not knocking anything of, you know, this Canard, but you know, it's such a big difference from what you could get. I really got on the brake there, so turn, turn, there we go. That little bridge there gets, it's not a bridge, that little bump in the road there gets me every time. You gotta like almost coast it. You go too early in the gas, you'll spin the car out, and that's any car in this game. You know, the reason why I really recommend you do this mod is, one, it doesn't cost much to do, and two, you know, a lot of games kind of like this really require you to modulate the brake carefully. And you know, this game, iRacing, that, you know, it's all the same deal. They all really want you to slightly modulate the brake and just not just mash them down, because you can lock up the tires, and that affects your brake temp, your tire temperatures, and you know. Not really paying attention. It's all right. Race is almost over anyway. But you know, it really enhances your experience, enables you to use muscle memory, makes your racing experience a lot more accurate, and I am misshifting like crazy right now. It's really not that expensive of a mod, you know, and it really gives you a nice hydraulic experience. You know, you really feel like there's a master cylinder behind it. You feel like you're pushing against something other than a spring. When we get up here to this apex, I'm just going to nail on the brakes, and you can see how much force this thing can really take. So, you know, hopefully you can see that, you know, even though I pretty much lifted my chair a little bit there, you're not gonna break those shocks, and they're really firm, they're really in there. You're not gonna break a seal out of them if you get the right ones. I mean, you could really display a lot of force with these pedals, and it just really helps you with muscle memory. You start learning the cars that you have and the appropriate brake pressures for the appropriate turns and whatnot, instead of learning position of your ankle. And that's not accurate to the real thing, and that's not a real accurate way to race in these games. You really got to develop the muscle memory and you know, try to be as accurate as possible, especially in games like iRacing, where you really have to focus on your car, the tracks, and, you know, the different racing sessions. It's not just like, you know, an arcade and who cares and both pedals are just floating there. Now you have something that really can give you an experience and enhance your simulator experience, really for not that much money. So, you know, again, just like every other time, I'm going to say this is definitely a thumbs up in the budget aspect of budget builds. So I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I helped out anyone that is looking to do something similar or looking to enhance their T500 pedals and not have to go and buy T3PA Pro pedals, which are identical to their pedals plus the conical brake mod. So if you're a sim racer or a racer in general, race on and have a great day.